Yo, what's going on YouTube? It's DLloyd. So today we got a ton of information about the new EA Sports College Football 25 video game, and I watched a lot of videos. I listened to a lot of the podcasts, and I read a few of the articles that were dropped. So yes, I watched videos of other people that played the game early. So I'm going to give you guys my opinions, and if you have not seen those, then maybe this could be just a little bit of information and just all in one, so you don't have to go everywhere and figure out what happened, man, because there are quite a few things that we want to talk about today, and I am excited about. And I haven't even played the game. Just listening, I am definitely excited about it. Now, what it seems like today was really supposed to be gameplay being revealed. You see a lot of the YouTubers really just talk about gameplay today, but you've seen a lot of the other more traditional outlets and podcasts kind of dive in to Dynasty mode and dive into Road to Glory. So we will talk about that a bit as well. But let's talk about presentation first. Now, we all know one of the most important things in the college football game, right, is the tradition, is the pageantry. And if you see my live streams going over the reveal, you know how excited I was to see that it looked like that was a major focus, right? We've seen a lot of the entrances from a lot of the teams. We've seen some of the special traditions from a lot of the teams. And it looks like it has been confirmed that has been a major focus point for the EA team. And they're just trying to make sure every team is well represented. And one line I heard specifically, I forgot what podcast it was, I believe it was on 3. He said that he talked to one of the developers and they said every single team of the 134 teams is somebody's favorite team. So they felt the need to put everything into every team and make sure they can get as much of the tradition and pageantry as possible. And I love that. And one thing you could really tell is this team is passionate about college football. Now, we know they hired a few of the college revamped guys, which was already a great sign, but a lot of passionate fans about a sport that is very passionate, right? There's a ton of passionate fans out there, and that is what makes really college football stand out from the NFL, because you see the passion and the thrill on college football. Sometimes you don't see that on Sundays, right? It's more business. This is a business. Obviously, college football turning into that with NIL, but you see the passion and the love for the game on Saturdays, and I think that is one of the main reasons. And you see that here in this game, and I think that is a major thing. Now, we talked about it before. There are 2 broadcast teams. We know that, but there is only one scoreboard that we know of. So no ESPN branded scoreboard. They don't have the ESPN license, but they have a lot of the ESPN personalities, and then they'll have their own generic scoreboard. So not having multiple scoreboards, that's fine. Enter the Sandman, if you are a Virginia Tech fan, is not in the game, but there are some songs from certain schools that will be played in the game. They have not, revealed an official list, so I don't want to speculate too much. I heard Penn State, some other teams may have some things, but we do know some schools will have it. Some schools may not, but they tried. They tried to go out there and get as much of it as possible. So that is a great thing. Now, on to gameplay. I don't want to get this too long. On to gameplay. They keep telling you, like they're making sure, everybody's making sure this is not a Madden reskin. And of course, this is also coming from EA, right? They want to hammer down to as many people as possible. This is not a Madden reskin. Now, with that said, this is still football. And this is still a football game made with the same engine as Madden. So you will see a lot of similar animations. You will see, quite frankly, a lot of the same animations, right? Because just as a business, why, if I just sat there for years and years and I made a bunch of juke animations, would I get rid of all those and do the same thing? Or I could just take a lot of this juke animation that still apply to college football and then maybe get some more juke animations and then combine them together. And I think that's what we will see from these 2 games, is a lot of the combined animation, because it's still football, right? There's only so many ways that you want to juke out there on the field, whether it's high school, pros, college, Pop Warner, whatever, right? There's only so many ways that you will see it. So I think you will see a lot of the same animations. However, they have confirmed that there are special animations. So a lot of the 1-foot toe taps, right? Those don't apply to Madden, where you need to get 2 feet in, you need 1 in college. So I think you'll see some adjustments on that front. but from everybody that played the game, they keep saying it is a lot different. They definitely are hammering down that it is faster. I believe it was Eric Rayweather that said he believes it's about 30% faster than Madden. And that is big, right? Not because the players are faster in college, but because the disparity, right, between your elite college player and your lower level college player is so much bigger than your worst NFL player and your elite NFL player. And I think that's what makes, right, college so special. When you see on Saturdays a top player, a Heisman type player, you know he is going to wreak havoc on the other team. He is going to be extremely tough to stop on the other team, because the second string DB, he's nowhere near the team talent level, right, as that top guy. So you see the differences in it, and it makes those spectacular plays happen. When you get to the NFL, really everybody there is really good. So yes, you may not be as good as the Lamar Jackson, but you may be as fast. So now all of a sudden, Lamar Jackson still making incredible plays, isn't making the same incredible plays that he did when he was at Louisville, because that talent gap isn't as wide. So I do think speeding up the game, because you're going to get so much players that are way quicker than some other guys. I think that is something that needs to be in there. And from what it sounds like, that is 100% the case, right? It's a much faster game. They did really focus on the 134 playbooks, and from what was said again is the EA devs believe it is 134 different unique playbooks, not just 134 guy playbooks where two of them is pretty much the same, maybe one or two formations are different. They're saying these are definitely unique to the teams and the universities that they're being assigned to. We'll have to see that, of course, for ourselves, but I believe it. You play into the old NCAA games, you've seen a ton of different playbooks. Now, custom playbooks is in the game, so if you want to go just make your own, that's fine as well. They talked about the kick meter being drastically different, and you will struggle making kicks, and if you have a weaker kicker, he's not going to be automatic. And I love this idea, right? Because we see in college, it's not NFL, they already miss a lot of kicks now. I don't know what's up with kickers, but they already miss kicks. But one of the major things that you do see in the college game is, if you're especially a smaller school, you may not have the kicker with the leg to go make it 50-yarder. So maybe 45, 42 is that range of that kicker. So you will see them going for it on fourth downs more. You see more pooch punts because they don't have that kicker. And missing kicks is a lot more common in the college game than it is in the NFL. So having that in there, making things different from that perspective is great. Home field advantage, one of the staples of college football. Toughest places to play has been in NCAA since, I believe, 04, 05 is when they introduced it. This is still back. So from what we're hearing is that, yes, you're going to have the squiggly lines because there is that composure system. So you're going to have squiggly lines, right, if you are on the road and maybe that quarterback isn't as composed. I don't know yet. They haven't confirmed if it does anything to ratings. I would assume based off of older games, it probably will have some type of impact on ratings, but you will get some composure ratings where maybe the player icon won't pop up. It will be a question mark pre-snap. You get the squiggly lines also pre-snap. But they also said that there's a chance that maybe a receiver can't hear an audible or in hot route. And that is what we've seen, and I think mainly the PS2 NCAA games, right, where the guy won't receive that hot route correctly. He won't receive the audible correctly, and he'll run the wrong route. Hopefully that's the case. I know Madden, they have a M factor where it kind of cancels. Like if you play Kansas City on third downs, you can't audible. I hope it's a case where you can audible, but the player may not hear you and he may run something completely different. You're waiting on the out route and the dude's going straight and you're just like, yo, you ever going to cut on the out route? And he's like, nah, I'm good. I'm running the streak. I hope those are the type of situations that we get in this game. But that is confirmed as a major part of college football. They said the way it is handled, completely different from Madden, and I'm here for it. I am definitely here for it because I think that is one of the staples of college football, and getting that experience in the video game for us is going to be big. So let's go over to the game modes now. Let's talk about Dynasty mode because this is my most played mode. I know a lot of people love Dynasty mode. This is really what got me into college football to begin with as a child. So Dynasty mode, they said they put a lot of effort into Dynasty mode. So let's go ahead and let's talk about the first thing. Everybody wants to talk about NIL. So what it sounds like is NIL is technically in the game, but not in the game. So it's not a major focus. So what I'm hearing is brand exposure, what a lot of people keep saying. So I don't know if that's going to be a rating like pro potential or athletic facilities or anything like that. And the brand exposure is essentially your pseudo NIL. Don't know much more information about NIL. I do know it's handled differently in Road to Glory, which we will talk about in a little bit, but that is one thing that we definitely need to talk about. But with that said, one of the major changes since NCAA 14 is the transfer portal. That is in the game, and that is its own dedicated section. So you have to recruit players in the transfer portal. Players will leave your university in the transfer portal. You can also tell players, hey, you need to hit the transfer portal, and that's essentially going to guarantee that they go to the portal. So those are interesting tactics, right? Interesting things that I think that changes the way you play, because if you have limited resources or limited scholarships available, you now have to decide how many high school players are we going to bring in, as opposed to how many transfer portal players are we going to attempt to bring in, because you then have to then figure out, okay, maybe I have a quarterback and he's an established quarterback. We're not going to worry about getting a backup or getting a high school guy. You dedicate that time to getting another position. Now your quarterback's like, you know what? It's been real. I'm in the portal. I'm gone. I'm going to a bigger school. And now you really don't have a quarterback at all. So now you need to hit the transfer portal market and try to get whatever you can get. Or it could be a flip side where you get a massive upgrade from the transfer portal. So I think that is going to drastically change how, teams and people go about their dynasty mode. That is huge that it is in there. Neutral sites also in the game. Can you do in season neutral site games? That hasn't been confirmed. I'm assuming that you can, but neutral site games are there for sure. When it comes to bowl games and stuff like that, that is definitely another thing that's cool to see. They did not dive deeply into recruiting. Now, I'm one of those guys that want the old school, you have to call a recruit every week thing. I wasn't a fan of you had 500 points or you had 700 points. Just go ahead and spend those points in the bucket, and that was essentially it. I like that you had to actually recruit players, call them, pitch them on ideas, bring them into the visits. And it sounds like that is the direction that they are going. Can't 100% confirm it, of course, but that does sound like that is the way they're going to go when it comes to recruiting. And that is great. So hopefully we get more information soon. It seems like we will get more information about that, maybe even as soon as tomorrow, which will be great. And hopefully we could figure out exactly the path and the route that they are going with when it comes to that. Custom conferences also in the game, so you can change custom conferences, and 30 years, 32 players for online, but 30 years is where you're going to cap out when it comes to your dynasty mode, which is fine. That's pretty much expected. One major drawback is draft classes being exported to Madden is not a thing, and it sounds like it's really not because EA did not want to put that in there. More so, this is a legal issue where EA and Madden doesn't have the rights to the players, right? The likenesses to put them in Madden. And they want to avoid that because, of course, we have real players now. Back in the day when you could export the guys, technically, we did not have real players. Even if you got, the updated rosters from somebody else, you did not technically have real players. So exporting draft classes to Madden, not a thing, and this definitely is definitely not the best news. I'm not gonna lie. Having that connectivity, I thought would have been big. This does hamper a lot. Like for instance, my Madden league I'm in, we were hoping the college league you'll be able to export those players into Madden. That would not be the case. So all of a sudden, it's not as connected as you would have liked it to be. So that definitely hurts. And then, of course, not having crossplay with Online Dynasty. I feel like that will be something they will patch in later. They haven't said anything about it, just based off how EA, they patched it in with FIFA. Then they patched it in with Madden this year. Maybe they patched it in. But yeah, that not being there at launch definitely hurts as well. So that's pretty much what we know about Dynasty Mode. It sounds promising, but of course, everything is not in there. It is what it is essentially at this point, and hopefully that does change and they can get it figured out. The next thing that we do need to talk about is Road to Glory. Now, NIL and Road to Glory seems like it plays a more prominent role than NIL in Dynasty Mode. What does that mean? Not quite sure, but they did say you have to manage your time, which you knew managing your time was a thing. We knew that was definitely going to be in the game, but they say you have to manage your time and figure out if I'm going to go shoot something for an NIL deal I have, right, or focus on the NIL, and then you let your grades drop, you can become academically ineligible, which is a cool thing. Does that happen in Dynasty Mode? Back in the PS2 Maddens or in PS2 NCAA games, players could become ineligible or they could get suspended if they messed up. You could do the same thing in Road to Glory back then. I think they called it Campus Legend in those games, but back then you had to focus and take tests even to stay academically eligible. I don't know to the extent that you have to do it in College Football 25, but you can become academically ineligible. Something that will bum a lot of people out is you do not start in high school in this game. So it looks like you will start fresh in college. I don't know if you do a game, you do a prep game, All-American game. Do you do anything leading up to college? I'm not quite sure. But that is something that we did see that looks like it's going to bum a lot of people out, especially that play it. Another thing that I'm trying to find it here, it looks like you can't play as any position. It looks like they are the selected positions that we had maybe even in Madden, right? So you only play from a few positions. What positions those are, not 100% sure yet, but it looks like you're either going to have to pick from, quarterback, running, but maybe you don't play as an offensive lineman, right? Or you can't play as a defensive lineman, or you can't play as a defensive tackle or a kicker or a punter. I'm thinking those will be the restrictions. Every other position you'll probably be fine. Tight end, I'm not sure. But those are the restrictions that we're hearing about Road to Glory. One last thing that I did forget to talk about is the run blocking. Going back to gameplay, I forgot to talk about it. Run blocking, they're saying is much improved, and one of the major differences is individual linemen have their own patterns and recognition and really just IQ about what they want to do. Their own logic is individualized more so as an entire offensive line, or what they did is section it off in blocks. So this section and then this section of the offensive line is now individual. They have their own logic as to what they're going to do. They're blocking this guy and that's their target, or they're going up to the next level and that's specifically only their target and only thing they're programmed to do. And it seems like the system before was basically because they had older, gen systems, they weren't able to put that in the game. Now being PS5 and Xbox Series X and S only, they're able to get that in there. So that's pretty much all of the news. They didn't dive deep into how the coaching carousel will exactly be. The logic improved on that. We do know you can't be coordinators there. There is a coaching tree there as well, but we don't know much more. You got higher offensive and defensive coordinators. We don't know exactly how that's going to work. They didn't deep dive into recruiting specifically. They didn't deep dive into a few things, but from what we're hearing, we will hear a lot more about game mode specifically in the upcoming days. So you guys let me know what you guys think about this information. Is this a W for EA? Is it an L? Let me know. I do know there are a few things that will bum people out, but for me personally, as a whole, I'm still very excited about EA College Football 25. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm looking forward to it, man. It's been over 10 years. I cannot wait to play it already, but we are almost there. Less than 2 months away from the official release. July 16th, if you get the deluxe version, July 19th for the standard edition. I am there. I'm ready to rock when the game drops. But let me know your guys' thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. What is EA missing out? What do you still need to hear maybe to make the purchase? What are you bummed out about? Let me know in the comment section below. As usual, hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, please do me a favor. Go ahead and leave this video a like. It helps me out a lot. And subscribe if you haven't already. It's DLloyd. I'm see y'all next time. Peace.